Welcome to the Empowered Wife podcast, where it's all about fixing your relationship without your man's conscious effort so that you feel desired, taken care of, and special, even if your relationship feels completely hopeless now. I'm Laura Doyle, and today we're talking about what to do when you're living with an addict. My guest, Karen, was devastated by her husband's addiction to porn, alcohol, drugs, and gambling. When she tried to address those issues, he responded with rage. She realized that wasn't working and learned a whole new approach to communicating her needs. And today she feels beyond blessed to laugh and enjoy her time with the amazing man she married. She's going to tell us how she did it so you can do it too. But first, let's talk about living with an addict, which is so scary. Here you've tied yourself to your husband for better or for worse, and he's gotten much worse. You question if you should be trusting him with things that are going to impact your life when he's always under the influence of that addiction. Addicts have a terrible reputation for making bad decisions, which can make you understandably anxious and also vigilant, which is exhausting. What power do you even have? I mean, if he can't stop being an addict, even though you've asked him to and told him to and given him ultimatums, then what's left? Since this is the Empowered Wife podcast, let's talk about the immense power you have in your marriage, even if you're living with an addict. First, I'm going to tell you a secret about how I can tell what the inside of a marriage is like pretty quick without seeing the inside of the marriage. Okay, you ready? Here's how I can tell. It's by the way the wife speaks about her husband. It's about the way she speaks about her husband. So she might tell me that her husband is ambitious and hardworking, right? Or maybe she says he's a workaholic who's never home. She might say he's very involved as a father or else too harsh with the kids. And that tips me off as to whether she is respectful and whether she sees the best in her husband or maybe the worst. And from that, I know a little bit about how it's going at their house by the level of respect in her words about her husband. She's like the publicist for her husband, and I'm finding out about him through her. So I hear about what she's focused on when I listen to her speak about him. She's telling me the way things are through her perspectives. Like when I used to tell anyone who would listen that John was a loser McLoosey pants, right? That seemed like the truth to me, but it was actually just my focus. When I changed my focus, I had a totally different experience. By opening my eyes a little wider and changing my mantra from my husband is a loser and finding evidence for it to my new mantra, which is my husband is a great provider and finding evidence for that, that is what I experienced. That's what I experienced today. Now my husband is so successful. Now he's Mr. Moneybags. Did you catch what I did to become empowered? I changed what I was focused on. That's where my empowerment came from. I started focusing on the great qualities that I saw in him when I chose him. And those are things that I still enjoy about him to this day. And I started finding evidence for the things I wanted to experience. That changed my reality. So if the headline story at your house is that you're living with an addict, you might think that's what you need to focus on to stay safe and protect yourself and your kids. But there might be more to the story. There is more to the story, right? If your mantra is, I'm living with an addict, one question I have for you is, who else are you living with? Are you also living with a hard worker and a good provider? Are you living with a good dad? Are you living with a comedian? Are you living with your hero? Are you living with the romantic lead of your love story? Is he loyal? Is he devoted? Is he sweet? Is he successful? Would he do anything for his family? What you focus on increases in my experience. And I'm always impressed and inspired when I hear women come on this podcast and share how when they decided to change their focus, they had a whole new experience of the man they lived with, a much more enjoyable experience. And if they can fix their marriages while living with an addict, then why not you too? That's what we're all doing here, is putting an end to the suffering in our marriages by changing the things that we can, like what we focus on. In just a moment, my guest today is going to tell us how that's done. But first, I'm going to ask her to describe what her marriage was like before she learned the 6 intimacy skills, so you can hear what's possible for you. Something big is happening here on the Laura Doyle campus, and you are invited. Hundreds of women have become experts on the 6 intimacy skills and transformed their marriages by becoming certified Laura Doyle relationship coaches who live their purpose, have more intimacy, and earn for their families. In my free masterclass, Purpose, Prosperity, and Intimacy, How to Have All Three and Help Others Do the Same, I share directly from our popular relationship coach training and certification course about the number one most important qualification for becoming a successful relationship coach. I also reveal the indispensable first step to having a passionate, peaceful relationship and how to share it with other women. I explain about why our coaches have an unfair advantage over other relationship coaches and counselors. And I go step by step through our proven coaching curriculum and why it's so effective in saving marriages and empowering coaches. Register today for Purpose, Prosperity, and Intimacy. Have all three and help others do the same at lauradoyle.org/purpose. That's lauradoyle.org/purpose. My guest, Karen, was devastated by her husband's addictions to porn, alcohol, drugs, and gambling. When she tried to address those issues, he responded with rage. She realized that wasn't working, and she learned a whole new approach to communicating her needs. And today, she feels beyond blessed to laugh and enjoy her time with the amazing man she married. She's going to tell us how she did it so you can do it too. Karen, thank you for coming on the Empowered Wife podcast. I'm so excited to hear your story today.
Hi, Laura. Thank you for having me, and I'm so excited to be here.
All right, well, take us back to the bad old days with all that addiction stuff going on. What was happening in your marriage?
Okay, so those days were pretty painful. I was actually newly married. I owned my own business, and I was gone a lot of the time. And so when COVID hit, my salon shut down, and I was home more. And so I was very aware of things going on. But I didn't know necessarily what it was. I knew something, it just wasn't right. When it came to the bedroom, I was told that was a chore. I mean, it was very, very hurtful. Oh. And we both decided to wait for marriage. It was something we never did before. And we were going to try something new, right? You try something new you've never tried. And that's just what worked for us. So I thought that area was going to be so blessed and it was going to be crazy. And so when it wasn't happening, I knew something was off, and I took it internally. Am I not enough, or am I, but I working with women in my field and their inner and outer beauty, it was like, I knew I had a feeling like it wasn't me. Something was off, because I always was like, I always thought beautiful women were the women who were, smiling and joyful to be around. So long story short, there was a lot of rage in our home. I actually, when I hit my own little rock bottom, I didn't even want to live, to be honest, because I felt hopeless. I didn't know how to get out of it. And because my business had shut down because of COVID, I lived in my bathroom for 3 months because that's where it was safe for me. I felt alone. So, I mean, when I tell you, it was a pit. Every doorknob in our home, it's like backwards because of all of the rage. And so I searched and I prayed and I prayed and I prayed for something, like just something. And Laura, you were my answer to prayer. And the book was my answer to prayer. And I could cry happy tears because it was like, you're an answer to prayer. So the bad old days, yeah, they were bad. There was a lot of manipulation, a lot of gaslighting. I was scared. I was scared. And hiding in a bathroom was not necessarily showing up with integrity, but I was scared. My nervous system was, it was going to shut down.
You didn't know what else to do. I mean, this was
Right.
your safety first, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, and you didn't realize this is what you were getting into at all. It sounds like when you got married, you didn't know about some of the other addiction stuff. Like, how did you find out about that?
Well, so when I was home more because of COVID, he was gone at the bar a lot. And I remember thinking, okay, like, be you. That was my salon name. Be you, be beautiful, like, own it, everything about you, authenticity. And so I kind of like went along with it. But then when I noticed like our bank account, it was gambling. And then one time I put my little nephew on our counter, and there was drugs on our counter. And that's when I lost it, because I knew this just wasn't safe for me to be here or in this environment. But I grew up in a family of, my mom had planted that seed of faith in me. And I just thought, okay, God, this is not what I thought it was, and then I was advised to look at my credit report and all that because of gambling, and come to find out I was betrayed in that area as well. So I was just so lost. Just lack of trust. My own esteem was just shattered. It was just shattered. So,
Well, it's not hard to see why you felt so terrified about all these things happening, and also so hopeless. Like it must have just felt like this wasn't the guy you thought you were marrying, I'm sure.
No, but no, but I knew the man that I married. I met him sober, and so he was amazing. And so I think that was like the glimmer of hope, that I knew the man I married, but this is not okay. This isn't good for my. It's just not good for me.
So did you try to get him to, I don't know, get the drugs out of the house, stop the gambling? There was porn addiction too, I think, right? Did you guys have discussions about this?
No, I was told like it was not a problem. I was always lied to, but then there were just different things, talk about evidence. And I always felt crazy, and like it was me. And
Gaslighting.
yeah. And it was painful because I didn't like who I was. It's not who I was. And I thought I'll never get my joy back. And I thought, well, I was a joyful person before marriage, and now I'll just never be joyful again. Like I really thought that. And so relinquishing control. I was a control freak. It was like my survival. I tried to control everything because everything was out of control in my life.
Yeah. No wonder. It makes sense why you felt like you just wanted to maybe just leave the scene altogether, because did you, and were people telling you like, okay, maybe you should get divorced, or did you try, like, did you talk to friends and family about it and stuff, or was it all just kind of a secret you were holding?
Well, because of COVID, I didn't have that interaction face to face with people. And then when it came to porn and the sex life, it was something that was very like private to me. And so I did reach out to my mom in her church, and I asked the pastor's wife if she could help me, and she said that no, there was nobody who experienced that problem. Okay, so
gosh,
I felt even more alone.
Oh my gosh. She told you the only person in the whole world that's ever had this. This is really a nightmare. I am shocked and so sad. Oh, there's no lonelier feeling than thinking you're the only. this is really a mess. This is really an unfixable mess because you're the only person that's ever had this happen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And
ouch.
yeah, and
Okay.
yeah, ouch, ouch.
Ouch.
But what I realized, Laura, was that was such a secret. The porn is such a secret addiction, and so that's why maybe there were couples that nobody ever talked about it or put it in the light. So that was actually a blessing, though, that I was alone on it, because I was even that much more determined to heal, or I wasn't going to live. Like, I didn't know what to do. And so it was bad. The living conditions were not healthy. I physically, I was always stressed. I mean, my hair was like, it was like everything that the cortisol level of your hormones could do to you. I was underweight. I couldn't eat. And it was like, now it's an upward spiral, but it was a downward spiral in those days.
Yeah. And hair is pretty important. That's your business. And your hair,
Yes.
your hair was falling out, it sounds like, from the hormones.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. So everything, this sounds incredibly heavy, terrifying, stressful, unbelievably stressful. And somebody's telling you you're the only person. And did you try, and you guys were fighting too, I'm guessing, right? Or was it, okay, lots of fights. And was it more like just Cold Wars where there's no talking, or because you were saying you spent all that time in your bathroom? So is it kind of like a roommate situation where you're just passing each other and not talking at all?
Yeah, it was definitely cold wars. If I did, just because of the rage, and I thought, then I would go into I didn't help, and I can't wait to get to that part. My side, my paper.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
that's like the good stuff. But
yeah.
So yeah, definitely rage. So there were times it was just easier because also with drugs and alcohol, it was scary, but it was also a blessing that I couldn't run because of COVID. I have sisters. Everyone was just scared. So it was like, okay, I had to make a way. So prayer is what got me here.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm doing the happy dance.
We're doing a happy dance. We are, because there's a good end to this story.
Mm-hmm.
But this part of the movie is pretty tense. You're like, how is Superman going to save the world when he's tied up like this? This is crazy. I mean, what was so he was mostly lying to you. I mean, and neither one of you was making a move to break up, it sounds like, really, because you couldn't because of COVID. But I mean, I think that's yeah.
Yeah, there were definitely threats. He said he was looking up lawyers. I mean, but this is like gaslight. It was insanity. I mean, that's what it was.
Yeah.
And I would, reach out or pray for other women that I could understand or would understand me, right? Would relate with me, because apparently I was the only one with this issue, all four of his addictions. And so once I realized what I was up against, right, with the four, that's why the skills and everything was it is a miracle.
I mean, who heals their marriage from this? This is incredible. Okay, so all right, so it's bad. You are wanting to die. There's no escape. You're in your bathroom. What happened?
Okay. My tail's wagging, Laura. So what happened was, I had a very good trusted friend who called me one night and said, Karen, you got to read this book. And because I loved her and I respected it, she told me to do it. I mean, I would, because she was just such an inspiration and she had my best intention. So I Amazoned the book on the phone with her and I bought your book and I could not wait. So that when it came, I was like so excited because of how this woman said it changed her life. And so I got the book, and the first one with self-care. Because I was in the salon industry all my life, your book was the first time I had the revelation and the light bulb moment of what true self-care was. I would have my nails done. I do makeup. My hair, I do hair. I could do that, but I and that is important for, if to feel good, and for me anyways.
Sure.
But however, it didn't replenish my spirit fully. Do you know what I mean? Because it's outside. In my when I owned my salon, I owned it with my sister, and our mission was, we wanted to pray for women because we thought we could make them, a little bonus, extra beautiful on the outside. But what about their insides, right? Like, we don't know what they're going through. So we thought, well, we're shampooing. Like, that was our secret mission, is to pray over our clients that they would feel beautiful within, So the fact that I learned a different self-care, Laura, and I even wrote this in my notes because it is so much fun. You taught me whatever replenishes my spirit, meaning when I'm happy doing it. And granted, yes, when I do, my nails, it feels good when it's done. But in that moment, that's where your self-care clicked for me. Like, it was a whole different world. And also that it was my responsibility. So foreign to me. So you remove my husband, right, from all of it. Laura, I had no skills. Even before, nothing. These are life-changing. So now my self-care, it consisted in the beginning of a lot of bubble baths because I couldn't really leave. So, I got the salt, I got the jacuzzi bubbles on, candles. So that was how I started, with a lot of water. I love ice water. And so now, like, my favorite self-care is dancing on my counters. Laura, I had to get new blinds because my neighbors, and I'm always smiling now. Like, when I see them, like, hey, but I'm like, it is frivolous. You said frivolous fun. So fun. And I even broke 2 tables from dancing on them. So I have, like, the little wheels hidden from my husband. Okay. So frivolous fun, Laura. And then you said it didn't have to be this grand, right? Because it's COVID. So I had to learn ways to replenish my spirit, like, in the situation I was given. So prayer, journaling, emotional self-care too. That was important to me. I learned all of it, everything on my paper. Okay. That I just didn't know, like, my attitude. I love in your book when you say, if I floss, that's my, do you know what I mean? As basic as that. It's all mine. And my favorite one is, like, for me, is my attitude is my responsibility. My resentments are my responsibility. And I didn't know how to deal with them, I guess, because I didn't know how to self-care. So.
Oh my gosh, I love that you dance on counters and tables as part of your self-care. Like, this is how joyful you're feeling. Like, you got to get up there and just be high up. It sounds like, and do that, do your happy dance. So I love this idea of just really owning your emotional self-care, to your attitude, just making yourself happy, taking your husband totally out of the equation, and just be like, how can I make Karen happy right now in this moment? So amazing, because you were feeling very low, but when this book arrived, very, very low. So, was part of you like, this isn't going to be possible for me because I'm really in a bad situation. Like, I'm not going to be able to make myself happy. That's kind of ridiculous.
Yes, Laura. When I first read it, I thought it was very foreign to me. And I didn't really have, talk about faith or fear. It was a total opposite. I was fear or faith. Like, I didn't know how. I needed to rebuild that faith because of everything. And COVID itself was like, but then you add on all of that in my marriage, being newlyweds, and leaving him. I forgot that part, but I did leave him on our 1-year anniversary. Gone, done. I moved out. And then my sister's kids, like, they got COVID. And that's why I lived in the bathroom, because I was like, I'm not. Yeah. But so yeah, I didn't think it was going to work, but I also knew that I love love, Laura. Like, I had a faith in my heart, right? Like, deep down, I had faith, but I was in this turmoil of fear. So yeah, I didn't necessarily believe that this could help or change, but I was desperate. And I think that is such a gift, because the gift of desperation, I would have not prayed. And that's why I'm like, prayer was the one thing I had. And so the fact that I even got the skills in your book, to me, that was like, it was like, okay, God, I knew God heard all my cries, all my prayer, everything, because now it gave me a blueprint for a standard of my life. Nothing to do with my marriage, even, although, yes, it's a bonus. I'm a very ridiculously happy wife. I really am. That's a bonus. But skills help set a standard for me, Laura, regardless of who is around me, and a responsibility, what I can control. And I want to control everything outside of me. Now I'm learning, take that energy and put it inside. Like, I'm the only one I can control, And so I call, and that really, really helped me to start putting that energy back in me, because I had to accept that I had to relinquish control, or that was it. My marriage would not last. It would not last if I did not. And Laura, I remember the day, I many days, but there was one day specifically with relinquishing control. It hurt so bad. Like, it was so painful. And I saw
this whole story.
I saw the fruit of it later. It was like I had a revelation of this freedom that I had never experienced. And, but it hurt. Like, actually, I felt like an arm was cut off. I'm not even exaggerating. It was so painful to relinquish control.
I'd love to hear the details of that. This was with your husband?
Yes. Oh, yes. Okay. So, all right. Well, I'll keep going then. So yeah. I got your book, and I started reading it. I knew it was working off the bat, because this is why. So my husband had now I don't remember if this is after COVID or when it lifted. Okay. It's just like, this is the timeline. We did have a group of people over, like a big party at our house. And the next day I was washing dishes, a whole sink load, right, from a party. And I look over and my husband is playing video games. Ugh. And I felt it inside, that resentment come up, like, okay. Yeah. And it wasn't any kind of SFP. Let me tell you, it was nothing fruitful that I was thinking. And
you're thinking, because I've thought it too, like, he is so lazy. I have to do everything. Right. That's okay. All right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So then I thought, Laura, I literally had my little yellow rubber gloves on. And I just read the chapter where you said, if I'm going to do it resentful, stop in self-care. So this was new, right? But I'm like, okay, you were in my mind. So I'm like, I took off the rubber gloves, and you said, I don't even have to justify myself. Like, don't speak, just do, right? With integrity. So I just stopped doing the dishes, because I was like, I really don't want to show up resentful right now. So I'm going to self-care and finish reading that book. Laura, I got upstairs, my cozy, right? Self-care. I'm reading the book, and I am like, already my spirit is replenished with your words, just fun, And my husband comes up and he starts rubbing my feet. And he's like, Karen, I just want to thank you for all you do. And I thought, I got to keep reading. Because I didn't even finish the book yet. Do you know what I mean? I just knew that chapter you said stop, like that self-care, it was my responsibility.
Wow. He came up and rubbed your feet and thanked you and appreciated you. I mean, okay, let's just walk down the other path for a second, right? Let's say you kept doing the dishes, you kept those rubber gloves on your hands, and you got every dish into the dishwasher, and now your kitchen's perfectly clean, right? But would he have done that? Would he? No, right? That's not, you'd still be full of the resentment. You wouldn't be able to.
And I would have been pissy. Like, I would have been pissy.
Right, of course.
Yeah,
of
yes.
course.
The kitchen would have been spotless, and probably even more perfection, because I was like scrubbing out of anger, right?
Like, I got lots of energy to.
But my insides are rotten. So I knew it wasn't safe, right, for anyone. And so that's when I was like, yeah, Laura, I knew that I had to keep reading. So actually, it was that night I read your whole book. I read the whole book. So I was like, I need more. But Laura, I ended up crying. I mean, and writing my husband a four-page letter.
Wow.
Yeah.
What did you say?
I mean, I still have it, but I never realized how disrespectful I was, first off. I never realized what taking responsibility for my paper was. I never knew I could show up differently with integrity. I never knew that I could love my husband with where he's at, not necessarily love what the things that he's doing, but I could show up differently. And I could show up differently because I had different skills now. I was using self-care and taking responsibility for that. I was using ouch, right? That stopped a lot of the rage. I wish I would have known that like 2 years ago, but that's okay. I'm here now because of it. Do you know what I mean? So
Yes.
I was right where I needed to be, Laura.
Yeah.
So a lot of ouches though in that time, and a lot of apologies from my husband's side. Like once I said ouch, and I felt like you had said, I'm honoring myself, right? I don't have to go into an argument. I can just say, oh, that hurt. Like, ouch, that hurt me. And and I got more apologies from him. You know, the old me was like, he never apologizes. I mean, I laser focused on the negative big time, right? And so, okay, respect. So I wrote him a letter, and instantly, when I said the word disrespectful, Laura, it was so fake coming out of my mouth and my heart. But I always wanted to be a wife that was respectful. That's what I was taught with, you know, like I was younger in faith, like you're a respectful wife. But your definition of respect with the blueprints, like that's to me more of the faith I believe in, coming up as a wife like that. So, I would use a lot of I hear yous, whatever you think. Duct tape was, and still to this day, obviously one day at a time, is my favorite. Being in the industry with women and the salon, my major was communications in college. So I always joke and say I can talk a lot. But the gift of listening, truly, Laura, it was such a game changer for my marriage, because I wanted to talk to my husband like a best friend. But you suggest call 20 wives, call women. And it was weird at first. I would be like, I would just pick a wife that I knew. And I'm like, would I be able to just process something with you? Because I needed another woman. And then, of course, I had to tell them about the skills. But it was just, at first, I had to use it as my own journey. Like I needed another wife because I was still practicing them like new. And so then the respect, I hear you and whatever you think. And then when it came to apologizing for being disrespectful, it came off so, at first, I think I was doing it to try to keep the peace. Okay. So it was like this little, like, it wasn't coming from like a place of integrity.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't pure. Right.
Yeah. It wasn't pure. And so
we all start this way. Like, I'm just going to manipulate him. I'm just going to say these words, then I'll get the reaction I want. So yeah. Okay.
Yes. And yes, that's how I felt. I was like kind of manipulating. But the thing is all of the skills, when I did do them, okay, yes, I had to like start somewhere, right? And feel uncomfortable. But then when I realized that if they weren't pure, he reacted to an unpure whatever, whether it was a desire, whether it was whatever it was, respect, an SFP. Well, not an SFP, because those are just good. Like, you know, those are good in general. But so if I realized if I didn't come up pure, he felt it. So what helped me to come up more genuine was to call other wives that I knew at the time. Now I have a circle that I'm so thankful for, but I had to do what I had to do then. And I would call another wife and I would process it with them until I got the root and the humility, right? Like the humility of what my 1% was. Like that's what you had talked about. What's the 1%? So when I really got there, then I would be able to go up to my husband and say, I apologize for. Before it was like, I'm sorry for. It was like this little scared, wounded girl. No, now after the Laura way and hearing podcasts and all of that, I apologize for being so controlling when I did this. Duct tape. Walk away in self-care. I mean, I was like to the book. Okay. I was like a robot at first. But it took down the walls. Like my husband would come home and tell me things. We were laughing together. And then the other thing was, I was always like, he never tells me anything. He doesn't open up his heart. Guys are just different. That wasn't true. I didn't give him the space or the gift to speak. The room. I never gave him that gift, Laura. And so once I duct taped and I would say, I hear you. and smile. For me, Laura, I saw his heart again and I heard heart messages, and I am like, wow, like I have an amazing man. He's human. It was such a different lens. Okay, so I'm so forever grateful for that. And then the SFPs also did help because it also aligned biblically with my truth. And so I would find evidence, I believe in the Bible. So I would find evidence of all of your skills. Laura, they all align in my own faith. Everything. There's like a million truths of like how this honors God, everything that you've wrote and are teaching. So the duct tape, if it's not fruitful, don't say it. I would visualize duct taping my mouth some days. And the SFPs though, believing like I have power to either give life to my words or death. And the SFPs are speaking life over myself, over my husband, over, I have, this is my vision, the culture of love and gratitude and safety and fun in my home. Now I can even take out safety. Like now it's just the fun, gratitude, and love, in my home. But
yeah, I love that. I love that vision. Wait, read your vision again. That was the old one you're saying, and now you would update it because you take the safety for granted is what I hear. Like that's done. Like we're good there. Is that right?
Yeah. I didn't even realize until you said that. Yes.
Okay. So read that vision again though, because I do love that. This was your intention.
Okay. This was my intention. It was a culture of love, gratitude, safety, and fun in my home.
Yeah. Beautiful. Mm-hmm. And when you wrote that seemed like just a fairy tale. Like how's that ever going to happen? That's crazy. Mm-hmm. And now
this is my home. So yeah, I would update it to love, gratitude, and fun. Lots of fun.
Okay.
Lots of fun.
Okay.
In the house. So also like this, my home now, it is for other women. Come here. Let's dance encounters. Let's get weird. Let's get frivolous. So now it's a place to even encourage other women to do the skills. And
you're that girl of fun and light, and everyone's magnetized to it, not just your husband, but like all these women and the women that you wanted to help, the women that you were praying over. Yeah, that you wanted to help them be beautiful inside and out. And this is creating quite a bit of inner gorgeousness. I have to, I mean, that would be my assumption. Right. Okay. Wow.
Yes. And I have like signs all over my house. Like the prettiest makeup is a smile, because I do makeup. I'm a professional makeup artist, but it's true. When I have a smile on my face, and any woman, that I'm working with, I could tell when she's and it's so much fun to be around. So one thing that I did do when coming up with like fun and light, because I stopped going out with him in the bad old days. I was like, nope. I mean, just and it was COVID, but now the fun and light girl, what helped me was you had shared, or it was on a podcast about being the friend I would want to be with, showing up that way for my husband. And I thought, oh my gosh, no, like I was not showing up to him on my responsibility, the friend I want to be with. So I started being that girl, and I started saying yes to dates, and I started saying pure desires. And Laura, it is so sweet. Like my husband is such a good man. Sometimes I forget that I expressed a pure desire, and then, it could be a month later, right? No expectations either. That is key. Okay. And then he'll be like taking me to a Greek restaurant because he's like, oh, well, you had mentioned you wanted the Greek cheese or whatever. I'm like, yes, I did. Receiving graciously. And then also, speaking of receiving graciously, because my esteem was really broken. I mean, with all of that. And it was. And so when you talk about receiving graciously, you had talked about receiving compliments. And I couldn't do that. I could not receive because I just was like so broken, right? And once I started receiving compliments, anything from my husband, like seriously, graciously, thank you with a smile. Okay, so fun. You said to take in the compliment. So that's how I started. When I was like, I didn't know where to start, that's where I started. I made a decision that's what I was going to focus on. I was going to, right, it starts with a decision. I was going to say thank you. And if he complimented me, right? Thank you. But then this was my visual, because this is frivolous fun. Anytime anyone complimented me and I said thank you, I visualized, I'm a dog mom. I don't have children, but the dogs rolling around in grass. You know, when they're like rolling around. So that's what I would visualize when my husband complimented me, someone else compliment. I was going to really soak it in. That's what, like, to build my esteem again. Laura, it helped. No, not in such a healthy way. Not, yeah, it really did. So thank you.
No, I love that. I love it. So you became a better receiver. So now when your husband was giving you compliments, how did you respond in the bad old days to compliments?
I didn't believe them. I couldn't receive them. I rejected them. I abandoned myself in that way, because it was like, I didn't deserve it, or it was just so, it wasn't good.
So you would say something like, nah, or that's not true, or something like that to reject it?
Yeah. Or I would say this, ready? And this is like, it's so embarrassing to say, ew.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, laugh. Like,
I love
yeah,
that you shared
ew.
that. Yeah. Yeah, right. I mean, I think this is very relatable. I remember doing stuff like that too. Like, nah, no, that's not, no. It just, yeah. And then like being all upset with him because he said something sweet about me. Right. Yeah. So, yeah. So now when he compliments you, you take that in, and like, how does that affect your connection with him?
Well, I think too, it's showing off that femininity, you know, like that side. I am a woman and he is a man. Okay, duh, I know, back to basics. But Laura, you helped me to really understand that, because you know, and with the porn, I felt like I had a lot of I wasn't enough, or with this and that. And like I had to be like these women. No, 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 no. That was just because I was so broken. Those thoughts. Once I started using all the skills, so it has to come, like receiving gratitude, little by little, receiving, right? I'm the coffee cup. That was an analogy you gave once, that like the husband's the mug, he's the outer shell, and I'm where like at the woman gets poured into, to receive. So it definitely, I feel like my husband felt more like of his masculine side, and then I got to be the feminine one.
Feels pretty good, right? There's kind of an electricity that happens when you're willing to be receptive. It's a little vulnerable. That's why you felt uncomfortable, it sounds like, until you got, but I love your image of the dogs rolling around in the grass. It just really like, yeah, he thinks I'm beautiful. Yay. So attractive. So I love that. And so, okay. So yeah. And you mentioned also vulnerability being something that you did in a big way that had never happened. Like that, it was a whole new thing, whole new level. So tell us about that.
Okay. So vulnerability. This was the biggest breakthrough for with that, was I had heard a podcast of yours about, okay, or no, hold on, let me backtrack. I did a desires list. Okay. And one of the desires was I wanted emotional safety. But I was just telling myself, like I didn't say them out. I didn't express them at all yet. I was talking to Karen, right? And I really wanted emotional safety. So then I heard a podcast of yours and it talked about autonomy, like being under respect, and how autonomy, I wasn't giving that to my husband. So the vulnerability part comes when I was convicted, because here I am wanting emotional safety, but Laura, I was probably the most unsafe person. Mm-hmm. So it was really hard, because I thought, okay, God, I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
Because I hear you. It just comes out now. I hear you because you want me. You're starting with me. And in order for, like, that's what I felt he's putting on, like, my heart is like, it starts with you, Karen. And so you had mentioned autonomy. So now I'm like, okay, I have to give my husband privacy. What? Heck no. No, I mean, Lord, that's, again, talk about relinquished control. It hurts so bad. But then I'm like, Karen, if you want something different, you have to show up differently. So the autonomy, relinquishing control. So that's what I started doing, was I was giving him what I wanted so bad, even though inside it hurts. Like, it was so uncomfortable, but I truly wanted it. And little by little, I mirrored that to him. I became safer. He became safer. And so when women would say, well, why does it have to start with me? I'm always like,
Yeah.
listen, because don't give up before the miracle. Do not give up before the miracle. And you can have anything you want instead of a lazy complaint, right? Write down. I had to actually start off writing my my complaints, because I was like, what is my desire? So I started with all my complaints, and then I was like, something's lazy in there. And then I would get to the point of what I needed or wanted, and to show up more dignified in my marriage. But so when you talk about vulnerability, it was, I needed all these little steps to show me vulnerability. And now, I remember you talking about how vulnerability is like, it is really important in a relationship with intimacy. And now it's so freeing, because we had a lot of things going on and in our lives. We had a death in our family. I'm going through IVF. I mean, real stuff that can be just challenging, but not when you have the skills, okay? And prayer. But so the vulnerability part came in when you were like, it's okay to cry. If that was just, I do one day at a time. So if for today I was sad, or if my husband hurt my feelings, whatever it was, I just last week, I think it was, because it was about the baby he brought up. So I duct taped, but a tear came down, and I thought of you in my mind, and I'm like, it's okay. Like, just don't say anything, but it's okay to cry. Like, you're sad. It's because of the baby. Like, he was saying how he wants to be a dad so bad, but it's me. So I was like, okay. So, but then I thought, it's okay to cry here. You don't have to go run to your little bathroom. Like, you can let him see, part of you. And so vulnerability it's like a breakthrough for me, because I don't have to justify it. I don't have to be embarrassed. It's like, no, it's actually really important in my marriage. And the ironic part is, talk about giving what I would not, it's not even selfishly, but it's like, I'm never going to get what I don't give. And so even vulnerability, it was like, when I truly kept it on me, right? Like keeping it on me and my feelings, that's when my husband would show me his. And Laura, it's so important. And I love when he is vulnerable with me too.
How did he respond? Did he see your tear when you were sad about that? How did he respond to that?
He apologized. He's like, honey, I'm sorry. If, I didn't mean to upset you. And then I said, like, thank you. I appreciate you saying that, because those are comments I tried to say from the book. Yeah. And I say, appreciate you saying that. And then he said later, he's like, do you want to go golf with me? Like mini golf. And honestly, Laura, I wasn't, because it was like the baby stuff. It is a little emotional for me.
Yeah.
So I honored myself, and I said, honey, I really would love to go walk around the mall outside and just window shop, and he said, okay, do you mind if I go? And he goes, we'll both self-care. Laura, everything he says he mirrors everything now. He's like, honey, do you mind if I go self-care and, hit a few balls or whatever it is? And I'm like, I secretly, I'm like, hee. Like, of course. Do you know what I mean? Yes. Yes. Even when he's killing bad guys now, it's so funny, because before I used to be so resentful of like the video games. Now he's like, babe, would you mind if I self-care for 20 minutes?
Oh my God.
Be you, and then I self-care. And he even told me, he said, Karen, I love this new life we have. And he said he was an empowered husband. I'm like, oh
my gosh.
Yeah. But he said, I love this new life. He called me one day and he said, because I think it's just really cool that we're showing up and we know how to like really take care of ourselves and self-care. So he's like, because then when I'm with you, Care. I love being with you. And I'm like, well, Laura, I feel the same way. So it's just so cool. So why does it start with me? Thank you, God, it started with me. Thank you, God, for Laura's skills and her book and the community. Oh, yeah. And sorry, I'm jumping around now. But one other pure desire I did state to him, which was kind of scary for me, was I would love to be a ridiculously happy wife. There's a group, or I said something about the group. And Laura, he handed me his credit card so fast. Oh. And he said, Karen, no, but this is like really, actually, it was like, that was like also my little lesson in just showing like more pure desires in a way that would inspire, or being authentic, right? But he goes, Kier, if this meant so much to you, why are you telling me now? Because I had been doing the skills, practicing for a while, and then all my friends that like we connected with, they were all doing it and I wasn't. And because I knew I work from home now. I have a salon from home, but it was like something I really wanted. So anyways, it was right away. The next day I was literally interviewed by Coach Kathy, and I didn't realize it was a Wednesday and I was recorded, but that's okay. It was my first day ever. But my husband said, Kieran, please let me know, like, things that are important to you are important to me. So that breakthroughs, it's breakthroughs and miracles. And so,
and you were probably scared to even express that desire. Like, he's going to think it's too much, or, right. Yeah. Is that, and then and he was like, why didn't you tell me a long time ago? Like, of course, here's my credit, how quick can you do it?
I didn't even ask him for his, like, I mean, I have a credit, you know what I mean? He was the one who was like, let me. Wow. Did you say ridiculously happy wife? No, and I'm like, yeah. So then though, I was like, this is so weird, but like, I wanted to be like on my best behavior, because I was like, I wanted to keep going to the groups. So I was like, if I can show, like, then I felt like it wasn't pure. So I was like, okay, it's okay. I need to get back to then self-care, whatever I need.
Right.
But, so no, he loved it.
It's not going to make you perfect. Just makes you ridiculously happy.
Right. And Laura, honestly, even like, and that's the thing, when I explain it to my friends and family, now my mom's doing it. My mom is accountability buddy for the skills, all my sisters. But the thing is I tell them, it's not about necessarily, like, it's real. It's not about avoiding. It's with everything, you need them all. You need the vulnerability. I need the vulnerability. I need the gratitude. Gratitude is huge. And that's why I waited for, like, I put it last on the list, not because it's like not important. It is so important, but it's something that I can do every single day. And I use the skills now with clients, with neighbors, right? I use it with anyone. And I don't know if I heard it from the Ridiculously Happy Wives or a podcast, but some of my friends now will say drop 10. If we're sounding a little too pissy after too long, it's fine to vent. And if you really, to another woman, but then, all right, back to the skills, drop 10 gratitudes. And so now my husband does it. It's so hilarious. He comes home, he's like, I had a rough day. And he's like, I need to drop 10. Yeah, it is so sweet.
I'm not awesome. Yeah. So you've changed the whole culture of your house to one of gratitude. Like, anybody could be called on to just drop and do 10 gratitudes right on the spot, because they catch themselves complaining, and they don't like that. He doesn't like it. You don't like it. Your friends. So everyone's just going around thinking of 10 things they're grateful for all the time. Yeah.
Drop 10. Like, instead of, using push-ups, no, it's like gratitude, and it helps. It really helps my heart. That's the cool part. Yeah. And then the last thing I just wanted to share with you, besides now my husband, it's like, I truly, and I'm not just saying this, like, when I do that, I am so blessed. Like, I have a really good man, and I didn't know how to get there with him. I didn't. And he didn't know how to either. It's like, we didn't have, but now we do. And he has it too. And, I wanted to thank you though, because I did learn, it's like learning, taking responsibility on steroids. Like, that's how I feel it is, on steroids. And then also, I do want to say my husband is 1 year sober.
Oh
my gosh, 2 years. Sorry, 2 years.
2 years. Holy cow. That is a big reveal. That is a big, wow. 2 years sober. Unbelievable. Wait, so, I mean, I'm kind of wanting to give you credit that he's sober. Is that, I feel like I want to give you some credit for that you created an environment of emotional safety and respect and admiration. And that was the space that helped him make that decision. Is that right?
Yeah. No, I'm like crying happy tears, because yes, I wouldn't have known how, like, to show up. And now people in his program are like, they just like affirm, like, wow, we want a wife like yours. Like, what do we do to get a wife like yours? Or, you're so lucky or blessed, and but I can't help, like, I'm crying right now, happy tears, because it is such a gift to be able to be, it's like an honor now to be his wife, you know.
Wow. I'm blown away.
So,
So impressed. Karen, that's amazing. So this is what's possible? This is what's possible because you're living it. I mean, I'm blown away. My head's like
living it. We're living it and going on vacations and doing fun things and going on date nights because, you know what I mean? Like living it and then above and beyond. Like it is a miracle, Laura.
It's a miracle. This is a miracle. Okay. Wow. And so in the beginning, just to kind of do before and after. So nothing much was happening in the bedroom. That wasn't going on. And now I take it, since there's IVF going on, that would be a poor investment if there was nothing going on in the bedroom, right? So things are sizzling a little more. Is that fair to say?
Yes, Laura, 100%. And when it came to all of that, when I decided to shift what I was focusing on and not giving oxygen or attention to the behaviors that I didn't like, right? Magnifying what I did love. You helped me in that area too. It's like you're in the little program talking about the malware. It's like Laura, like I'm like, okay. But it helped me when you said you shared, like it, I tell myself it's for me. So even in that area, it's not even about him. And if I come in joyful or there, like, or do you get what I'm, it's like for me being a woman, femininity, right? Like, it's like, what do I want? No,
Yes,
it's
what
like
do I
so
want?
different. What do I want? What do I like? So that changed our whole, even in like the bedroom area. It's so different and it's so fun. And I never would have thought.
Okay.
Yeah. So
wow. So that area totally transformed, like from very little physical intimacy to like now it's really, it's all for you and it's a lot of fun, it sounds like. And then so the drugs and alcohol, that's amazing. He's sober from both of those things for 2 years. Is that right? Now, there was porn addiction. What about that?
So that went away.
It went away.
It really did. Laura, okay, granted, right? Men, that's, I'm not saying realistic. Like, I don't want to not be realistic with my husband either. But if he does, that is truly his paper. Yeah.
Wow.
And I might add,
okay.
I'm like in love with him. My cup is being filled because I'm learning how to fill it first. And then he's like the bonus. So, but then he's pouring into me. So it's like this. So, it's not that I care, but it's like, it's not my business.
That's a great way to say it. Yeah. Yeah. What is your business?
Going to Victoria's Secret and Selfcare, and it's so much fun getting coupons in the mail and meeting best friends, getting my size. And I'm like, you want to be my best friend? Because I went up a size, like so much fun. Yeah. So I've been having fun with myself in that area for me. And then it's overflowing in the bedroom.
Wow. So fun. Love it. Love it. Okay. Now, and there was gambling addiction too, right? There was gambling going on. What about that?
Okay. I'm glad you brought that one up. So, SFPs, I trust you. I believe you're going to do the best, like make the best decision for our family. You're financially, what's what I say? You're financially capable, or you make good choices when it comes to finances. Okay, Laura?
And that was all bald-faced lies when you said them. Those are spouse-fulfilling prophecies. You did not believe them when you were saying them, but you decided to just speak that into him.
Yes.
It's the experience you wanted to be having. Okay. And then what
happened? What happened was he started, the more I showed up that way, he put more into our 401k. The gambling, he realized, because I wasn't telling him or controlling, I was respecting, hey, I've expressed it in the past and it didn't work. So it's not that I wanted to be naive, right? Like, oh, he's
No.
still gambling.
Yeah.
So, however, that's where what I could control was I could pray and I could go to my higher power, right, and pray and say, like, this is not whatever. And then I would trust. I used the skills on God for me first. Like, okay, God, I'm going to trust that you have my best interest, or I'm going to trust. So it started with like that first, and then my husband. So then my husband 401k went in. Our savings account like tripled. I mean, it is. We've been going on vacations. He's been giving me money to save. The more I believe in him, I believe in him now too. Like he truly
Wow.
is. I really do
Okay.
trust him.
This
I
is
trust him. Like it's
amazing.
not fake.
All right. So in the old days, you were like, if only he would stop gambling, then we'd have more money. And that was like the counterfeit, right? That was you being on his paper, trying to control what he was doing. And now the new experience you're wanting to have is that he makes great financial decisions and that he's capable. And that's what you're experiencing, more retirement savings, more savings. And you do actually trust him because he's showing up. So he's changed. This is a different guy you're married to.
It's the man I first met.
It's the man you first met. He's back.
Mm-hmm. He's back.
And he's
and so am
great.
I.
And so are you. Karen's back.
But new and improved. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's even a better version. Thank you, God. And I mean this like humbly. Because,
Yeah. But you're like the best version of yourself. You know how to honor yourself. You know how to take care of yourself. You know how to be happy, make yourself happy, show up respectful, be authentic, have integrity, be vulnerable. Oh, it's beautiful. Amazing. So give us a little glimpse of what your marriage is like now.
So now there's a lot of laughter. He's really funny. My husband is truly funny. And there's a lot of laughter. We're leaving Friday for a vacation because I expressed a pure desire. And we're going to the mountains and we have a cabin. It's just us. And it's fun. It's fun. We go on date nights. And I have fun going. You know what I mean? Like it's fun. He's my best friend, Laura. And I honestly, like every day, I do say, God, thank you. And thank you for the gifts. Thank you for showing me this different way. Because even when he wasn't sober, I still could control showing up differently, Laura. And that it really, truly made a difference.
Wow. So just doing the things that were within your power on your paper changed the whole world, your whole world. And fixed your marriage, saved your marriage. And now you're in the happily ever after part. That's amazing.
Yeah. Where we want children and we want to have a family. Yeah. And I might add this, Laura, more than ever. Like I always want to be a mom. If it's, if I'm supposed to be a mom, but I cannot wait to do the skills on my child. Like giving my child autonomy, giving my child respect, whether it's a girl or a boy. Do you know what I mean? Like I want to use the skills on my children. And so that's also gave me like hope where I'm like, no, I want to be a mom. That's why we're doing, because, IVF now. Yeah. Because the bad old days, I was getting a little older, right? Now I'm like, time was ticking. And I wish, but I have the skills and prayer now. I'm like, so the arrow points up.
Oh my gosh. I just love that. It's super exciting to think about being able to show up so skillfully with your little babies that you're going to have. And yeah, I'm totally standing in that possibility for you too, that hope and that vision, because your intention is very powerful. We've seen that you wrote out an intention that sounded crazy and now you're living it. And so miracles really do happen. You made it happen. What is your tip for somebody who is where you were? He's addicted to porn, to gambling, to drugs, to alcohol. He's raging. They are, like as the furthest thing from a happily married couple they could be, it sounds like. And she wants what you have now, where he can't wait to take her on a trip because she expressed a desire. And he's like, I got to drop and do 10 gratitudes and you feel like best friends. He's making you laugh. You feel safe. He's sober. He's 2 years sober. What if she wants what you have? What's your best tip for her? Where should she start?
Okay, so one, like I said, well, getting the skills, the book, um, number one, that's where I would say start. And then also giving it a try. I mean, I know for me, I had to do something different, right? That I have never done to get a different result. So it was like I had nothing to lose, right? To try these skills. And so I would tell her start there and to truly like I mean try it. You and not give up before the miracle. Also that she is worth it. Totally worth it. And it could the pit, quote unquote, could be ultimately the biggest blessing and miracle if if that energy is shifted into the blueprint of the skills. It's a blueprint. So I would tell her you're worth it and to go for it and to get into a community. Start with one friend because I know that can be a struggle too, right? Listen to podcasts. Do the things that you can control, right? We don't have to like just start small and give yourself grace and one day at a time because even these days I have to say some days I'm like okay maybe God give me the courage to show up differently the next time, right? And give a lot of grace.
Yeah, a lot of grace. So you didn't have to be perfect to have all this incredible transformation.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, because there's
No.
grace. Yeah.
And you won't be, right? We won't be. And now my theory on that is if just say I've nailed this skill, then I'm slacking here. I'm like, oh, thank you, God, humble pie, because he wanted me to work out that skill again. I was getting a little weak. He wants me to be whole and show up with lots of integrity. So I take my slips, not slips, but when I'm like, ooh, okay, that was on me. I can, courage to change the thing I can, next time. That's how I think of it now with myself. It's like, it's okay, Care. You were just getting a little weak there and you just need a little workout.
Just a mere mortal woman. We're going to make mistakes. Yeah, me too. Me too. I had to apologize for being disrespectful on Sunday a couple days ago. So yeah, absolutely. And what do you think you would say to Care if you could go back in time and tell her what you know now when she was not wanting to be alive anymore and stuck in the bathroom?
I would say to believe. I believe help my unbelief. And that you are worth it. And there's a different way. And you're worth trying, right? And to keep the vision of what keep that vision alive in your heart for what I want, like what I wanted. And to just stay there, focus on that. And that's what I would tell her is and the skills, of course. I mean that's a given. But
oh, I love it. I love it. It's really you said earlier, I love and you've chosen your faith. And that's what you invited yourself to do in the past. And this is how you got where you are. And I'm so impressed. I have so much admiration because you have so much enthusiasm for it. And but I know it also took a lot of courage. This took a lot of courage, a lot of faith, a lot of commitment on your part to get here. And that's why I'd like to give you this award, the Best Wife Award.
Thank you.
Yeah, for saving your marriage, for fixing your family, also becoming a beacon of hope in everybody's life that you touch, for what's possible. I really hear you're a changed woman, the best version of yourself, and I just admire you so much for all the work that you did to get there.
Thank you, Laura. And yes, thank you. I'm going to roll around in that.
The Best Wife Award.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Laura, though, really, for your heart and your desires to want to save marriages. So thank you.
Oh, I'm so glad we found each other. Yeah, thank you. Well, this has been so uplifting and inspiring and amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your story with so much vulnerability and integrity. It's so beautiful.
Wow. You're welcome, Laura, and thank you for having me.
If you'd like to be my guest on the Empowered Wife podcast and share about how you fixed a struggling relationship using the 6 intimacy skills, I would love to interview you. just go to lauradoyle.org/podcast-guest to let me know that you are willing to make a big contribution to ending world divorce by telling your relationship story. I look forward to meeting you. That's lauradoyle.org/podcast-guest. Listen and subscribe to the Empowered Wife podcast. On next week's podcast, we're going to talk about what to do when you don't trust your husband. In the meantime, I hope you're having lots of fun. Today's fun fact is that if civilization crumbles, I have a little flashlight in a drawer somewhere.